JSN prove to the NFL that he's the best wide receiver?
You know, Akib and I have done battle about this 4 or 5 different times through the end of the season. And he kept saying Ja'Marr Chase is in another league from JSN in athletic ability, gymnastic ability, and just striking terror in DB's hearts. Mm-hmm. And I would say, I got you. I get that. I see that. I feel that. But JSN was not getting enough credit for the impact of the season that he just gave us, because it was all-time spectacular for a team that threw the 4th fewest passes in the league. So they're saying to Sam, we're not going to throw a whole lot, but when we throw it, we want to complete it, and they did, because they were number 1 in yards per catch and number 1 in yards per completion. So every time he threw it, mostly to this guy, it got caught for a lot of yards. So it's hard to argue with the productivity, because I didn't have time to go real deep on this, because you could just blow your brain up trying to get to the bottom of this. But look at what he did. He had 1,200 more yards receiving than the second Seattle receiver, Cooper Kupp. So he had 1,200 more yards. And the closest I could find was Jerry Rice in 1995 was his greatest year. He was 1,786 more than the second, who's a little running back, and on the 49ers. Yeah. So it was JSN or bust. And I kept saying, he doesn't look that fast. He doesn't look like he's playing that fast or that quick, but it's like he's a shapeshifter. Like he just materializes and he's open. And that's the closest I have seen to Jerry Rice. And I covered a whole lot of Jerry Rice. I'm not saying he's Jerry Rice, but he operates the way Jerry Rice operated, where you'd say, I don't know how he's doing that, because he's not. Remember, Jerry Rice ran 4.6 ahead of the draft, 4.6, which is why he fell in the draft. Well, JSN ran 4.5, so it's not like he's blazing speed. He just runs routes that get open, and Sam completely trusted him, obviously, to the point that just about he had 67 more catches and 93 more targets than any other Seattle receiver. So it's ridiculous. The bulk of the work of the Super Bowl champ was him catching passes. That's the greatest offensive impact they had. I know the running back who became the MVP of the Super Bowl got hotter and hotter as they got toward the very end, but the guy who really got them there was JSN. So he richly deserves every penny he just got above Ja'Marr Chase. And again, if I'm doing a combine, if I'm just doing big picture in a void, would I take Ja'Marr Chase over JSN? I probably would slightly, but if I want productivity for this team and this quarterback, man, I can't get any better, because all they did was win the whole thing, right?
Man, I'm gonna speak for my dog Lee, since he's not here, and I'm gonna stay with Chase, man. You gotta go with Chase. Now, JSN, you mentioned all those stats about what he did for Seattle and on his team. He doesn't have a number 2 receiver like Chase does with T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a number 1 for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And then you brought up Jerry Rice, right? Jerry Rice. What made Jerry Rice so great? But we all know he had hands. He ran great routes. But what really put him over the top? His ability to score touchdowns. Touchdowns in this league is what make you great. JSN in the last 3 years, great receiver, great route runner, has 20 touchdowns. You know how many touchdowns Chase has in that same time period? 32. That's 12 more touchdowns. And on top of that, he has 52 touchdowns his entire career. So Jerry Rice, to put in perspective, Jerry Rice has 208 touchdowns in his career, which sounds crazy, right? The next best receiver, I think, is Randy Moss at like 150, 152 or something like that. So he's 50 touchdowns more than a lot of some people's GOAT, which is Randy Moss. I still, Jerry's the greatest receiver to ever do it. Some say the greatest football player to ever do it.
Bill Walsh said that. Yeah, he's greatest player ever.
Greatest player, period. So for Ja'Marr Chase to have 52 touchdowns his entire career, 32 in the last 3 years in the time period. He also has a triple crown, which JSN doesn't have. He has a 1,700-yard season, just like JSN. You have to take Chase. Now, the way these guys get paid isn't who's the best receiver. It's who's the best receiver up next. And that's just how the league is. We talked about that, week in and week out. It's the guy who's next. But if I'm taking one receiver who can do it all, give me touchdowns, give me first downs, run after the catch, deep threat, intermediate routes, who DBs truly, truly fear, I don't think JSN has built that fear factor yet. I think he had a great season, but I don't think guys go out there and fear him. But I know guys go out there right now and they have fear in their heart for Chase.
I'm a fan of the show, Cody. I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm enjoying the show before I dive in.
Yeah.
I'm listening, man. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah. So I'm on board with you guys. I don't think JSN has proven to be the best wide receiver yet, but I think he's on his way to potentially becoming the top wide receiver in the NFL. If you look at his trajectory right now, his rookie year had 60 receptions, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. In his second year, has 100 receptions, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. Then last year, he just takes off and explodes onto the scene, has 119 receptions for 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he wins Offensive Player of the Year just in his third year in the NFL. I love his skill set, man. He is an elite wide receiver, and I don't use that word elite lightly because I think it does get thrown around a lot, but there's a small set of guys that are in that top category. JSN, after last season, in my opinion, has asserted himself amongst the league's best receivers. When you look at his skill set, man, his ability to get open, like you mentioned, Skip, not the fastest guy in the world, didn't run a great 40, but he still can continuously create separation against man and zone. He's so smooth getting in and out of his breaks when he runs those routes. The other thing that I think he does a great job of is he makes every route look the same, which puts a lot of pressure on a DB. And what I mean by that is whether he's running a 9-yard stop, a 15-yard comeback, or a go route, his get off and acceleration at the snap all look the same. He keeps a great pad level and continues to dig, and then he can stop on a dime at 9 yards, stop at 15, or go over the top and go make a contested catch down the field. That's so difficult to defend. The other thing that I think he does a great job of is using his high football IQ to his advantage. And what I mean by that is knowing how to attack leverage, but also to adjust his route based on the coverage that the defense is running. I could have a receiver run the same route from the slot, but that route might slightly change based on if it's cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, or cover 4. And if you can continuously give your quarterback lanes to throw the football based off of the coverage and leverage, that makes your job a lot easier. And I think that's why Sam Darnold trusted him so much, knowing that if it's cover 2, he knows he can cross the safety's face. If it's a high safety outside, he knows he's going to flatten his route. I know I can put the ball there, and JSN's going to go get it. So I really like everything that JSN brings to the table. I think he's going to be a top wide receiver in the league in the future, can at least push some of these guys. But I'm with you. Right now, I still have Jamar Chase for every reason that both of you mentioned. Just 6,800 yards, 54 touchdowns in his first 5 seasons. He's a guy that they want to get the football to. Even with T. Higgins on his team, I know he's got another guy that he shares the targets with, but every game that whether it's Burrow or Flacco or Browning or whoever his quarterback might be, they want to find number 1. You still can't stop them. Put 2 guys on him.
Okay.
Remember that Thursday night game against the Steelers with Joe Flacco? Just kept force-feeding him the football regardless of who was covering him. I really like Jamar Chase. I think he's number 1. But in my opinion, JSN has really asserted himself into that small, unique, or elite category.
Who do you think saw the most double coverage between JSN and Jamar Chase?
Jamar Chase.
I mean, well, no, to that extent, I don't know the exact number, Skip, but you would think based off of how many targets JSN got over the next closest guy, you would think JSN would be that guy. But also you got to remember, when you're running that offense that Clint Kubiak runs, as soon as you start double covering and playing too high, we're going to hit you with the 1-2 punch with Walker and Charbonnet and run the football. Then we have Cooper. Then we have Barner. Then we can go get Rashid Shaheed. So as soon as you put too much focus there, you got to have weapons outside of that. Now, they don't quite have a T. Higgins as a number 2.
But to say it's hard to
Chase
double.
does.
It's hard to double Chase as much with T. Higgins there.
Yeah,
you
agree.
You can't really double him.
I agree.
Yeah.
But, so I would
and
say,
if I'm looking at a receiver whose second receiver in Cooper Kupp had 1/3 the catch or the yardage, 1/3 the yardage.
yeah,
I think that's by force, not choice.
Okay.
Like you
right.
have no other option at that point. So it's
but
like you said,
it would seem to me that every game, every defensive coordinator would say, I'm having 2 on JSN every play.
They did the same to Antonio Brown, and he did it.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Sometimes you just can draw it up and guys can just be
And sometimes them double teams depend on how you play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if you play that double team in and out, you're going to get beat. I like a high-low double team more than I like an in and out. Because the in and out, you can get split deep. You can get split, across the inside if your guy on the inside leverage isn't there. Or if your guy is too high on the outside, you can get beat on the outs because your leverage is not there. But a high-low double team works a lot better because you had a guy running up or under every route, and then you have somebody that should contain it deep. But like they're saying, if you go deep and you throw and you had that guy, it becomes one-on-one now because the trailer, he's no longer there to help.
Yeah.
So it's
and when we talk double teams, it's not like it's the old Megatron days where they had two guys lined up like it was
that was
coverage. It's two-man where you have a man defender underneath and a safety over the top. It's cover two where there's a corner underneath and a cloud over the top, but you can still hit those hole shots. You can still hit those circus corner routes. You can still beat that two-man defender without, and then flatten the route. That's what he does so well is, all right, there's a safety high, I got a trail corner, I'm still going to sell inside, flatten to the sideline, I can get a toe tap on the sideline.
What Seattle is the play action.
Yeah.
Because you get either that safety or whoever is on that low having to play the run, and oh shit, now I got to turn and roll underneath. He's gone.
Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot of time with Seattle and JSN.
Yeah, I believe JSN had a magical year at the perfect time. He did everything everybody said.
Yeah.
He led the league in yards, offensive player of the year, and they won the Super Bowl. It's just the perfect time. But I believe that the only reason we're having this conversation is because of the times we live in. It's just 2026 where we live in a microwave society. Do it once, and I can crown you as the best. Or we tag GOAT to everybody. You see people's name, and they put the little GOAT emoji next to them because they did something good one time. Or, Skip, you've been in this a long time. There was a time where you had to earn that tag as the best. How did you earn it? Because you were consistent. He had a magical year, but we can't just jump him all the way to the top when we've seen Jettis do it multiple times.
I agree.
We've seen Jamar Chase do it multiple times. We've seen CD do it multiple times. We've seen Puka do it multiple times. You can't just jump him to the top because he had a magical year.
But
did he earn his money?
As Cody pointed out,
his trajectory is great.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of trajectories where, man, he was, and then what happened? I was always taught when you get drafted first round, by year 3 you should know what you have. Well, this was year 3 for him. So you know what you have now. But will it continue? We don't know. But he had a magical year. But to just jump him above all these guys, see, I'm a person that I can't crown you unless I see it more than once. I can't, when you got guys who've been consistent. Jerry Rice, a lot of people consider him the greatest ever. He didn't lead the league in receiving every year. No. He didn't lead the league in touchdowns every year. But everybody knew, push come to shove, I want that guy. Yeah. That's just how sports work. You're not going to be at the top and win all the awards all the time. But who is the guy? JSN is one of the guys. So we can't base it off the money because I don't think anybody in this room will raise their hand and say DK Metcalf is a top 5 wide receiver. Right. He's getting top 5 money.
Yeah.
So you can't really base it off the money, but JSN had a phenomenal year at the perfect time. And the market is just the market. It is what it is. If you all pro or Pro Bowl and you have a dominant year, you have a chance to be the highest paid in the league.
On a contract year.
On a contract year. That's just how the league goes.
Okay, so receivers too, man. You look up about 10, 1,400 plus yard receivers. And depending on who they playing with and how many targets they get, if they weren't, they could be quick in the 1,700 yard range, easily 1,800.
And right after them was Garrett Wilson. He's next in line for being paid. Will anybody say Garrett Wilson top 5 wide receiver? No. I don't think so. You see what I'm saying? So you can't really base it off, oh, he's the highest paid. He earned that highest paid based off what he did in the year he did it in and completing it. Yeah. I don't think anybody will argue whether JSN earned his money. But the debate of whether he's the best in the league, he's done it once.
Yeah.
He's done it once. Compared to these guys who've done it multiple times, I can't jump him over these guys. His trajectory, like you said, incredible. But let's see where it goes from here.
But he did do it at a really high level.
He did it at extremely high level.
I'll give him credit for it, like you said, improving every year now. He did it with Geno Smith.
It's a dependent position.
Multiple quarterbacks. If you do it, you get even more. Chase, he had 3 backups, playing this year.
Yeah, no, he did.
Jefferson, he did it one year
but Chase
with
also
Kirk
didn't have
Cousins
the
and 4
production
other guys.
that he had the Triple Crown year. So how much
no.
of Jamar Chase is a
1,400
product
yards.
of Joe Burrow?
He had 1,400 yards.
No, very impressive. But JSN also got 1,700 yards with Sam Darnold, who wasn't actually throwing the rock as much as he could have.
Jordan
They were
Jefferson
protecting the football.
Also had around 1,400 yards with Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold's a damn good quarterback.
Right.
Damn good
When you a
quarterback.
guy, you a guy.
Yeah.
I know a guy. I played with a guy in Tampa. He's a guy. He had 1 million quarterbacks. He's in San Fran right now. Mike
outside the
Evans.
interception.
He had a bunch of different quarterbacks. And Mike, thousand. Because you a guy, you a guy.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who was throwing the ball. It's freaking Mike Evans. Throw him the ball. Find a way to give him the ball.
1,500 yards.
Okay, do you trust JSN going forward to
Sam Darnold.
continue to put up these numbers?
I do.
Yeah, for sure.
I do.
No, he is that good. But I'm saying when we start doing rankings, now you
I
got to get
understand.
nitpicky.
No, I
You know what I'm saying?
I got
yeah.
it.
But he is.
This
yes.
is what I didn't bring up that I do appreciate at the highest level about JSN. He seems to me, and I'm not there, but he seems like a really good human being.
He
They
does.
seem to really like him, and he's not the typical crazy diva receiver because, as Kinsey just pointed out, it is a dependent position. And it drives most of them over the edge crazy because they feel like they're an NBA player playing NFL football, and they need the highlights. And they can't control their highlights because they can't throw themselves the football. So a really good receiver can get doubled or tripled, and Cody just can't find him, and it never feels right. And so they get 2 catches for 8 yards, and they're out of their minds because it's not. Don't look at me, and they're most of them products of or prisoners of the internet in the comments, and they look and say, and people are saying, what happened to you today? Well, I ran every route as hard as I could run it, but JSN seems to be stable psychologically.
And let's see how that health goes.
Yeah.
You know, in the NFL, you should have one unhealthy year. You play 10 games instead of 17. Them numbers drop. We see it all the time. We got to remember, we have to stay healthy.
And I think there's a fine line to your point, Skip, and that's a good point, between really good and elite. And that's why I say he went into that category, but the elite receivers aren't one-dimensional. They have versatility, and that's what JSN did. He had just as much production from the slot as he did on the outside. So now it makes it difficult for a defense to double-team him all game long. Let's put him at number 1 in a 1x3 or a 3x1 all the way on the inside, lined up against a Will or Sam, Mike linebacker, whoever you want it to be. Try to double right there with a backer. Maybe try to get into dime and do some different looks. But the way that you can move him around is going to dictate what the defense does, and it's going to force him to make adjustments, which almost makes it impossible to double team him because he can play outside, inside, left, right. He can do all these different things. Hell, and against the Rams a couple times, he was running routes out of the backfield. He got a touchdown on a corner route against the Rams in the NFC Championship game. There's just multiple ways that you can use them, so it's and a lot of that credit is to Clint Kubiak, how he uses them. But you have to have elite receiver that can play multiple different spots, and that's what JSN, Jamar Chase, guys like that.
He do look like a little running back back there. You know, he's very powerful for being.
But did you see what happened on that play? Like they Cup ran a little return route, then they ran a post with Shaheed, who took out both safeties, and now because of the game plan and because of the play design by Kubiak, you've got one-on-one with the Will linebacker. Good luck. How are you going to cover that guy? How are you going to double that? And you're going to walk in touch.
And before we move on, just kind of giving insight to kind of how I was trained mentally. When I made my first Pro Bowl, Sapp called me, and Sapp said, okay, now they know you exist. What now? And he told me, you can't be the same person every year and be successful in this league. So now everybody has geared what they do to beat the champs. If you look at the 2 high safeties, it's because nobody could stop Kansas City. So they had to figure out, okay, how do we slow this bombs over Baghdad offense? So everything was built around how do we stop that? Philly won, okay, now how do we figure out? Everybody's going to try and figure out how to stop Seattle. That's how football goes. So now let's see, now that everybody knows you are who you are, now let's see what happens. They know what you can do. They know what's on the way. So let's see. And that is when you can start crowning people. You never had to wonder. Now, granted, I'm reaching here because I'm talking about arguably the greatest and Michael Jordan. You knew he was going to do a fadeaway. You couldn't stop it. There's nothing you could do about it. There's nothing you could do. There's nothing you could do to prepare for that. And when we start crowning people and putting people as the greatest or at the top, is because we've seen everything. SGA's record of the 20 points, he's seen what defense have they came out with that he hasn't seen? He's still getting his 20 points. That's when you know, all right, he's one of those. So JSN, his trajectory, his skill set, what we've seen him do, he has the ability to keep doing this, but it's yet to be seen. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so my bottom line is Ja'Marr Chase is more talented, all around more talented than JSN. But on just sheerly ability to get open consistently, JSN is at least as good as Ja'Marr at just getting open, however you define getting open.
Yes.
Because he was really it for them. He was by far it for them, and he just kept getting open all the way home to a championship. So something about him is weird and hard to sort of put your finger on. He just has, for all those reasons you just said, it's the route running, it's the rhythm, it's the stop-start, it's the IQ, it's feeling of both DBs, if you're bracketed or high-low, it's the feel of it, and getting Sam on the trustability scale where he knows you're going to go where he thinks you're going to go every single time. Nobody did it better than those two together did for the year. And I know Joe Burrow was hurt for most of the year.
And Kubiak's not there no more, right?
No.
Okay, now let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And if it
And let's see what
coordinators
happens
matter.
when he come in as a threat, like you said, from the beginning of the season. Because this year, we all knew he was a good receiver coming out.
But dang.
Yeah, I don't think we expected.
It was like he wasn't. I wouldn't say teams wasn't worried about him, but he wasn't that threat as what he is now.
By year's end, it was like, my goodness.
Exactly. Mid-season, it was like,
he might be kind of,
this dude, he ain't a one-trick pony, like you say.
And they lost their running back. I mean, Charbonnet will be healthy again, but, there's a lot of changes in this offense. Now it's like, all right, you know what I'm saying?
You got to wear the jacket.
I must admit, I did text Aqib during the Pro Bowl, which was just flag football this year. But remember, Chase wound up playing defense in the Pro Bowl and picks the ball off at the goal line with a catch where you're like, God, that's just real. He should do that also. He should go both ways, right? Travis Hunter.
Well, what Aqib would say, though, is he does judge guys based on their chips. And I will say JSN has a chip.
He does have a chip.
Ja'Marr Chase doesn't, but majority of the chat is going with Ja'Marr Chase, and then it drops significantly, and they vote JSN, and then right under JSN they have Justin Jefferson. But a guy that actually wasn't on this list, who I think we need to bring up in conversation right now and talk about, is next man up, which is Puka Nacua. Because he's on the last year of his deal, and he's going to probably get an extension from the Rams, which is going to be fat. And bringing him into the conversation, a lot of people would say he's the best receiver in the NFL right now. But I do want to look at his NFL rankings, because in receptions per game, he's ranked first. And this is since 2023. And then receiving yards per game, he's ranked second. And then first downs per game, he's ranked first. This is since 2023. So are we sleeping on Puka? Is Puka the best receiver in the league? So, Skip, do the Rams now have to give Puka a bigger extension?
They do, and they will.
Okay.
And once again, talking about the intangibles, he's a really good guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him after one of our shows.
He is in the news a lot, though. He loves a headline.
Yeah, but not in a bad way.
Loaded.
No, he's partying, Skip.
Okay, all right. So, all right, maybe he's celebrating his money prematurely, right?
And his brother.
I think JSN's maybe a little better guy.
Slapping motherfuckers.
Okay, but if JSN got 42.15 per year, it'll come quickly now. They were just waiting to see what Seattle did.
Yeah.
And Puka will get 44, and what did JSN get? 120 guaranteed. So Puka will get 125 guaranteed. It just keeps going up and up. And nobody plays harder. Nobody runs more angry after catch than Puka does. I'm just not. It just wows me to watch him, especially when he gets loose and catches one. And even against Seattle in the NFC Championship game, at the game at Seattle, remember the last throw of the game, he made an incredible catch on the boundary, and time ran out. But he's right up there with the other two that we just talked about, and he will get his money. And if I may add this in, as a lifelong diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, I am dreading him getting his money in the next month or so, because I got a guy in Dallas who is strapped with the tag right now, and it's sitting at $27.3 million. So he's going to hear that Puka gets 44, and he's going to sit back and say, God, I'm Mr. Highlight. I lead the league in highlights. I lead the league in spectacular catches. I'm coming off my career year, and I'm stuck at 27.3. And again, Akib and I have argued. He says, oh, he'll just bite his lip and be happy with it for 1 year and then can go back to the table for his. But I just don't – he's never demonstrated to me happiness. It's why Mike Tomlin said more trouble than worth and got rid of him and gave him away for a third-round pick. So these two big bombshell contracts of wideouts are going to put me in a bigger and bigger bind in Dallas. This is going to be a big ongoing problem for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't love anything about it, because he's going to want his money and want it now, because just because you're tagged doesn't mean you can't continue to negotiate into, through camp. So they are going to start making waves, and he's not going to be a happy camper come July, August.
Well, he's going to get $45 million next year. I'd be like, listen.
I don't know.
Life is good knowing that you're the next man up right after that.
A year is a long time to wait.
And he has to perform well this year.
Man, I think Puka is an excellent receiver, right? The thing I love about Puka is his yak yardage, right? He had 729 yak. That led to NFL, but do they have to pay Puka? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure.
Whoa.
You're a fifth-round draft pick, right? And you putting up these amazing numbers, right? The last person to do that in your same position was a third-round draft pick, Cooper Kupp, who won a Triple Crown, Offensive Player of the Year. So why not draft another receiver in the third or fourth round and put him in that same position and save you $30 million a year for him to do the exact same thing? Why not build a receiver and make him everything that you've been making the receivers in this Rams offense?
So you're saying it's not that hard to find another
As long as you have that quarterback and that head coach, you can find a Puka with the Rams.
Whoa.
Not saying across the league, but with the Rams. Now, will somebody else
That's what I'm saying.
give him a bag? I think there's 31 other teams, 30 at least, that'll give him a bag. But do the Rams have to give Puka a bag, just what they've done with receivers in the last 10 years? I'm not quite positive in that. I'm just not quite positive that
Do
they
you think
have
they
to.
just grow on trees out here in Southern California?
I mean, they must. They grow on palm trees and coconuts. They drop it from the
How many times
sky.
did Cooper Kupp have great seasons?
At least 3.
You just saw it from 2023.
No, Cooper Kupp.
Oh, sorry.
Good.
4 or 5, right?
No, I said great seasons.
Yeah.
One?
One.
Okay. One amazing season.
One amazing, but he had
Yeah, but
4
he
or
had
5
other-
good seasons.
Yeah.
I said great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I use my words
Very-
very.
yeah.
You do
Great.
it, Kenzie.
Yeah.
What's
Great.
great? 1,500 yards?
1,300 and above.
1,300?
One?
He got it.
Let me see.
Yeah, we got one.
You can keep going though.
No, I'm just asking because it's it ain't as simple as you made it seem. To do what he's done. I think he was a revelation. Nobody seen that coming when they drafted Puka out of BYU. They wasn't like, oh yeah, we can get us another Cooper Kupp. I don't think they was getting a guy to add to Cooper Kupp, and then he was like, oh, sure.
But that's for good reason. But when we talk about that Rams offense all the time, we talk about how they've been inserting guys in that Z position, making them their ability to fit within zones, catch the ball, and run after the catch. What I'm saying is, if I'm the Rams and I've done it with 2 receivers who were mid-round draft picks, why not try my hand at it again with this draft, especially with a bunch of receivers coming in or even next year, and not have to give $30 million?
And you said as long as they got
I'm thinking
the quarterback, how long are they going to have him?
Stafford?
Yeah, 1 more year,
2,
maybe.
3 more years.
You think?
So, okay, so to that point, is that next quarterback going to be able to get it done for Puka, and you paying this receiver all this money and you don't have a quarterback?
Well, we don't know, but you can't base it off just the quarterback and the You know, what has he done since he stepped foot in the league?
Man,
what
Puka, in the last 3 years, he had 4,000 yards, 19 touchdowns in the last 3 seasons.
Okay, but Gerald made an excellent point. Cooper Kupp has had one amazing. The rest of the season, he only had one other season over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And what Puka has done since he's been in the league is only been All-Pro twice, Pro Bowl twice. Since he stepped foot in the league. We got to think. Yep. Cooper had been in the league, and then he did that. This dude has done it since he stepped foot in the league.
Okay, but as soon as Cooper did it, he tore his knee up the next year.
That's what I'm saying.
He was a shell of himself.
You got this guy who's still young,
yeah,
and he's just really getting started. You know, it's like JSN. He's just really getting started.
Both are going into year 4.
Yeah. So when I look at, do they have to pay him or will they? Yes, because he has the accolades to back it. But I always think outside of just the paying him, which is what a lot of fans don't understand about contracts. Fans don't really look into where is the contract being paid at. He has to get paid in California. Mm-hmm. So when people look at the numbers, I'm going to give y'all a little insight. When people look at the number of contracts, y'all going to see the number that's posted on TV, but there's a lot of different things that goes into that. Is it front-loaded? Front-loaded meaning do you get a lot of your money in the first couple of years, or is it spread out over all the years? How many guaranteed years do you have where your money is guaranteed? And then when you post that number, I've known people who say, I know I'm not making this much, but as much as it'll say, but when they say it on TV, make it say this. Although you're not making all that money, but you have ability to make up to that money. Well, in California, a lot of people don't understand, you get paid wherever you play. He's going to play most of his games in California. But if he plays in Florida, he'll get taxed according to playing a game in Florida. But most of his money is going to come from California. So when he gets paid, they have to overpay him to account for the money that JSN is going to get in a state with no state taxes. So when I say, do they have to pay him, like, really? Yeah, you have to. If he's going to be comfortable getting the money he get, you got to overpay me to account for the taxes. And that's what a lot of people are not looking into.
True.
Puka plays in California. Yeah. And the state taxes here, JSN ain't got no state taxes.
Well, they just
we're going to get into Pickens.
Seattle.
We're going to get into Pickens. Texas.
Yeah.
No state taxes. I played most of my career in Florida.
Yeah.
No state taxes. You know, a lot
of money.
So they're going to have to overpay him
and
to
where do you
account
live?
for the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you live in Dallas.
Yeah, and I live in Dallas. So yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't know you was in Dallas, brother.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they're gonna have to overpay him because they have to account for all those taxes, especially if he could look at the number and they could post it, oh, he made $2 million more, this much more guaranteed, but then once you tax it, JSN might still make more.
Yeah.
You know, so when you look at these, from moving forward fans, when y'all looking at these players, look at where they're getting paid at. And then you'll understand how much money they're really
Didn't
making.
they just give the cornerback a record-setting contract this past year?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot of money going now.
You want Duffy?
Yeah, you better get your books in order. You have the high-paid corner, the highest-paid receiver, highest-paid quarterback, or like, shit, something got to give.
He's not the highest paid.
But
not right now, but he's a quarterback.
He was,
He's
yeah,
one of the
not
best
anymore.
quarterbacks.
Matt Stafford.
So he's highly paid.
But that's what Les Snead has done. He's done a great job of building this roster through the draft as well. They've drafted really well.
My point.
Now, I know everybody's going to come to the table at some point and be ready to get paid, but they have the funds right now to make these payments because of how well they've done building the draft. In reality, too, or building through the draft, they only had one first-round pick, I think, since 2016, and you know, they still have been able to find some really good players in the mid to late rounds. But, yeah, I absolutely think Puka Nacua should be paid. And you know, it came down to both of these guys. One of them was going to set the market shortly after the next guy was going to reset it. It just happened that JSN went first. Now Nacua is going to get paid. But I'm going to push back a little bit on that, TJ. I think Nacua is a problem on the outside. And obviously you got to give credit to Sean McVay and that offense. He does a great job of scheming him open and you know, getting him some easy catches. But I absolutely do not think Puka Nacua is just a product of Sean McVay's scheme. I think you could put him on 31 other offenses in the NFL. Now, obviously, there's some other great players in the league that he would have to share, you know, catches with and targets with, but I think he could still have the same production or close to it in every different scheme in the league. That's the type of player he is. And you even talked about it. One of those points being yards after catch. I may scheme you to get open, but what you do after you catch the football is up to you. I can't coach that. That's you. contested catches, especially outside of his frame, which
God.
is really impressive because a lot of those contested catches, if you're hitting the guy in the chest, I got to reach out and get it, or you might get a hand slap. He's making contested catches outside of his frame. His catch rate
one in
is,
Carolina.
yes.
I think
Not everybody can
overall,
do that.
The game is being favorable to these receivers. So every year you got a team coming in with, if it's not Ohio State receiver or Alabama receiver, they on the trajectory to have 900 yards this year, 1,100 yards this year, 1,400 yards this year. Man, you look like Egba in Tampa. Like, there's a reason.
I wouldn't compare him to Puka.
What?
You
Have
would?
you seen him play?
Yeah, but
Who,
He's in his second year.
Yeah.
You watch some film.
That's why.
That's a bad man.
I can't compare him to Puka,
could be.
man.
Look,
Nah, I
he-
can't
he-
compare
Yeah, I
You know
don't
what, though,
either.
too? You know
I
another
think he's
thing?
going to be
But
an
I'm not
amazing
saying
receiver,
don't get
but
me
he's
wrong. I
not
didn't
going
say
to be an
Puka
elite
shouldn't
receiver.
get paid. Do the Rams have to pay Puka? I don't think they have to pay Puka. But
I mean, they don't have-
Well,
they
you
don't have
talked
definitely
about.
should get paid.
You talked about.
He's still under contract, his rookie contract. You
Yeah.
don't have to do anything.
Well, you talked about Cooper Kupp and Puka coming in and doing what he did. Well, the only reason they was able to do that is because Cooper was on the team, and then they brought Puka in, and they seen what he can do. Right now, they don't have that guy that's there where you like, he might be. I don't know. Let's just wait. They just don't. You know, Tay is older.
yeah, he's older.
You know,
sure.
so
But he still was killing that red
Tutu's
zone.
gone, and Tutu never had that production. So
Yeah. But you
know-
right now it's like, you know.
And you know another thing, too, that I think makes Puka Nacua so valuable as a number one wide receiver is his willingness to block, especially in that offense. Like, he's not afraid as a Z to motion down, to insert in the C gap and block a forced defender. And with Sean McVay, that is huge because then I can run play action off of that. Now you're going to insert in the C gap, slip that DB or slip the safety, and then run a high corner, and I can hit you on a big-time play. There's not a lot of number one wide receivers in the NFL that are willing to come down and block a linebacker or a force safety down in the box. He does that down after down. He uses his size and his power to his advantage. So that's my whole point is, obviously Sean McVay is a genius, and what he does schematically is second to none. It really is. But Puka Nacua is not a product of that scheme. He takes advantage of the scheme, but what he does with the ball afterwards and the ways that he gets open and makes some of those contested catches is the skill set that he brings to the table, and I think that's very well worth being the highest paid receiver in the NFL.
So
And
back
what,
to your
I'm sorry, what was the play of the year that Puka made for the Rams? The play of the year was a defensive play, right?
Oh, he broke
At
the
the line.
pick against
In
It
Carolina.
was. I mean, that's a game set. That's a season saver, right?
Yeah, it was.
Because he didn't give up on a throw that he knew he couldn't catch.
Yeah.
That a lot of diva receivers will just say, I don't have any shot at that, and just let the guy catch it. And he went and fought for it and saved that game.
Yeah.
They're not going to win if that's an interception.
And I mean, and he's another guy that's in that category of we know we want to get 12 the football. The defense knows it. Everyone in the stadium knows it. You still just can't stop him.
Yeah.
You know, in
Yeah.
the game against the Seahawks that they ended up losing, but he goes for 250 yards without Devontae Adams on the field.
Yeah.
He was the primary target, still went for 250 and almost pulled off the win there at the end. It's just those guys aren't everywhere out there. Elite wide receivers, that small category, aren't just accessible everywhere. You don't know if you're going to find one in the draft.
Where would you rank Puka as far as what would you?
It's tough to put them in order right now. Because it's still like they said. The whole point is the
He's in
bigger
the big
body of
five,
work.
though.
But he's absolutely in the top five. I think
Yeah.
he's in that
He's
small
in the
elite
big five,
category.
yeah.
Well, you would
He's
take
definitely in
JSN
the
over
top five.
Puka. You would take JSN over Puka.
That's a tough one. Because if you look at their numbers statistically,
Really tough.
Puka in 7 less games in his career has more receptions and yards, but he does have 1 less touchdown. So he's putting up, more numbers at a higher rate. But what JSN brings to the table and the different things he can do versatility-wise and how you can move him around within the offense. And, he hasn't had the luxury of playing with Matthew Stafford, which is another factor in this. He played with Geno Smith and Sam Darnold, but there's an argument for both. I think right now I would probably take JSN.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
off of last
would
year and
too.
how he
You would
played,
too?
but
Yeah.
it is, you give me either one, I'm happy. I really don't care.
But to your point, you said there's not many people that have a Puka. So you don't think that other teams would be willing to pay him more than the Rams would?
I think they would.
That's what I'm saying right
but
there.
I think the Rams
yeah,
would be
okay.
making a
That's
mistake.
what I'm
if they
saying
let him
right
go.
there.
I think they
it
would.
may be out
Who's
of
the
their
most
control.
important player on that team?
Matt Stafford.
Do you think that? Let's be clear about
Yeah, what-
something.
yeah. I
Terry
got 1 year
McLaurin-
left.
Terry McLaurin didn't get paid the way he got paid because he was Terry McLaurin. Although Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry's been really good in this league.
Yeah.
They paid him
Great.
because they was worried about Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
He needed a guy.
Well, sure.
Remember when he was out there, he was like threatening not to come back?
He was.
All this and this. They said, wait, hold up. You talk about him all the time. The rookie year he had, they said, okay, we need this to continue. In order for that to continue, you need a guy.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford has been incredible. But as he continues, Matthew Stafford ain't gonna be like, hey, I don't know, whatever y'all do, whatever. No, heck no.
Yeah, he's
Him.
like, I need
Keep him
I need
here.
Can you
Puka.
imagine Stafford walking into the building
Keep him
and looking
in
at
this
Leslie
building.
and Sean McVay in the face and them saying, hey, we let Puka walk, by the way, when you have maybe 1 or 2 years left to go
That's
get
what,
another ring.
man.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
no, they
And
are.
if
They
Puka
are.
could
All
win a
that
championship.
factors in. They gonna go to 9
Yeah.
like, hey.
Okay,
he gonna go upstairs and say, y'all
TJ,
better pay him.
You
Yes,
said
sir.
they don't have to pay Puka. If you're in charge, do you pay Puka right now?
If I'm the Rams, I pay Puka.
You
I
would.
definitely would, just because what you guys just mentioned.
The whole argument is they don't have to.
No,
but
I
you know what, I'll
pay
pay.
because
We
the
want 'em over.
window. We talked about the window.
Yeah,
right?
they have a couple.
And then you just said you brought it up with Stafford about how long does he have?
Yeah.
So that window, I pay him for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
I
I'm
would
Puka
pay.
and the Raiders come and offer me more money than the Rams, I'm sorry, I'm staying with the
But
Rams.
hey,
I'm
man,
this
they
close
got
to a chip.
And
I'm this close to a chip with the Rams.
They
I got
were,
Matt Stafford. I'm
they were a
staying.
couple bad decisions away from being in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
And I think I think a majority would believe if the Rams played the
They would've won.
They would have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No
If
doubt.
anybody played the Patriots, they
Look,
would have won the Super Bowl.
That is great.
I hear you. Puka's becoming a party boy. We get that. But that team loves him. You can just see. And he plays
Yeah.
with a lot of joy.
Yeah.
He's got a big smile. And he's the energizer of that whole show to me, that they feed off him, run after catch. So I don't get diva in him. He's not making waves, or he's not a complainer, or
Pretty deep.
So does he take less money to stay in LA?
He went to BYU. He's finally,
not be
he's
the
finally
highest paid?
free.
Yeah, he's finally free. I think
if
maybe
he's
I
not
just
the
feel
highest
personal
paid, Skip?
things that I'm like,
If he's not the highest paid receiver in the
live
league,
it up
does
at
he stay in
BYU.
LA?
LA, huh?
if he's not.
If he's not the highest paid receiver, the Rams say, hey, we got
You mean if they just
$39 million for you.
if they just say
Instead of
play
43.
out your deal?
I don't think the
play out
Rams
your
would
rookie
ever do
deal.
that.
yeah, that's pretty great. Maybe if you offered 42.
I mean, he's on a 5th-round contract.
Yeah, I know.
right
He's
now.
not getting peanut.
Yeah.
I don't think they would ever lowball him like that and try to get him, below market offer. He, like I said, man, he's next up. And even if you don't agree, he's the best receiver in the league. You know, he might not think he's ahead of Jamar Chase.
He's
You said it
arguably.
yourself.
Yeah.
Arguably, you're
And we just saw
next
the
man
rankings,
up.
I
You're
mean.
going to reset the market if you're that guy and you're going into a contract year.
Accolades and next man up
Yeah.
will get you.
Yeah, and I always said this, and I will always be a firm believer in this: the best contracts in the NFL, they aren't rewards, they're investments, right? They're investing in what you're going to do, and both JSN and Puka Nacua are great investments and are worth every single penny, in my opinion.
For sure.
Well, while we're on big contracts for receivers, you did touch a little
brought
bit
on-
on Pickens.
yeah.
I want to dive more into that because obviously they franchise tag him, but Pickens could be getting those big bucks right now as well. So how is the JSN contract going to
Okay,
affect?
let Gerald go because I think you wanted to go.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
spoke my piece.
Yeah, I just when I think about Pickens, should he want as much as JSN got? No.
Well, will he?
Is he going to? Most likely,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
He
he
has
is
to
drunk.
understand, and Lee
is
talk
drunk.
talk about it all the time. You know this. You win a Super Bowl, you don't have to be even the top of the top. You just get paid because you come off a Super Bowl win. There was a point in time where I was the highest paid defensive tackle. And in that time frame of, let's say, that 2 or 3 year window, Ndamukong Suh, Hall of Fame worthy. Geno Atkins, Hall of Fame worthy. Cam Hayward, Hall of Fame worthy. You had Jarrell Casey, he's a 5-time Pro Bowler. Justice Smith, 5-time Pro Bowler. All these D tackles that I can name in that time frame. You know who passed me as the highest paid defensive tackle per year? Malik Jackson. You know Malik.
I play with Malik.
He got paid the year after they won the Super Bowl with the Broncos. He didn't have a Pro Bowl or All-Pro at that time. And he got paid higher than me. I was 3 Pro Bowls and 2 All-Pros in. You know why? Because he won. He won, and he was on the best defense in all of football. So when you look at Pickens and then you look at JSN, first team All-Pro, Offensive Player of the Year, and they won. That's a different level than Puka, first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler. So when you're looking at these guys that got paid, The Rams were in the NFC Championship. The Seattle Seahawks just won the Super Bowl. So there's levels to getting paid. Is he going to want to get paid like that? If he had the accolades to match it, but his team just didn't win, okay, he has an argument. But you don't have that.
Yeah.
You don't have either one. You don't have the win. Y'all missed the playoffs. You played great, but y'all missed the playoffs. And both of those guys were on winning teams. So with what we've seen, like what Skipper said,
Jamar Chase
it looks
wasn't
like
on the team he got paid.
it looks like they went to the Super Bowl.
But that was 2 years before.
But he had the accolades to match what he got paid.
That's
you
fair.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's fair.
Pickens don't have if he was first team All-Pro and had 3 Pro Bowls and all, okay, I got an argument over here. But I don't believe that. I mean, I can't tell guys what they should want money-wise, but he shouldn't expect to get paid like those two. He just, I mean, look at CD.
You think
CD's
he will,
been
though?
more good.
You think he will expect 42 plus?
Yeah.
Right now?
Heck yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think what we seen, like,
I mean, you look,
Maybe
and it's a
starting-
reason
maybe
why you
starting
think that
out.
because of
Pickens,
what
I'm
we've
saying.
seen.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like,
this
Pickens,
is ability.
He gonna sit back
You
and be
talk
like,
about the
man, hey,
investment.
listen. And
Yeah,
then
no,
we ain't helping. We not helping the case. Sorry, Skip. We not helping the case. When we sitting here on this couch and saying, oh, he the best deep threat in all of football and best 50-50 guy and all, he hear all that.
Talking about.
He hearing all that. You know what I'm
Gotta get it
saying?
cheaper.
And then he looking at, okay, when CD went out, what did I do? Look at what I did. I can be one.
He
I'm
was
one
their
of them
number
too.
one last year.
I'm one of them too.
Dak's top
You know what I'm
two.
saying? So I understand, but it's levels, man.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Man, I mean, Dallas got some decisions to make.
Yeah.
You know, paying 2 receivers when you just pay CD, 4 years, 136. You know, it's hard to go out and spend a lot of your budget on 2 wide receivers, but I think Pickens is absolutely worth it, man. I think he's worth top receiver money. Just what we seen, the 1,400 yards, 93 receptions, 9 TDs, splitting the ball with another receiver, right?
Yeah.
Another top 5 receiver, man. That's hard to do. 1,400, we just talked about, you said what's great? 1,300 plus. Had a great season.
A great season.
Probably have another great season. May back it up with 1,600 yards. You don't know what he does this year. But to your point, it's an investment. And there are more than 20 teams out there that need a player like Pickens. And that will give him that top dollar, point blank, period. Like every team needs a playmaker. Every team needs somebody that goes up, beat the double teams, beat the one-on-ones, and you know this is my dependable receiver that I can throw him the ball every time, whether I have a number 1 or number 2 receiver or not. We just talked about JSC and being the receiver that we had to go to because we didn't really have a reliable number 2 threat. I mean, Cooper Kupp, good receiver, but not that number 2 like CD or George Pickens can be considered the number 2. Not like T. Higgins in Cincinnati considered the number 2. Like there was nobody. There's no team like that Pickens is going to go to that cannot use him in that way. So having a dependable number 1, man, he's going to garner that top receiver money just because he's up next. You talked about Malik. We were a winning team, but I don't think that matters at the receiver positions as much because of his ability, what he's going to do, what we've seen he can do just in last year with a quarterback like Dak, right? You put him with a young quarterback, Tennessee,
Yeah, I see him leaving Dallas and being wide
like Minnesota, if you put Jefferson's there, but I mean, maybe not Minnesota, but somewhere that has a younger quarterback, Cleveland, that can just throw the ball up and find him and know, hey, you in trouble, I'm going to him.
Yeah.
He's going to get 45 when his time is up. He's going to get that just because of his ability.
Yeah.
It's the investment.
Yeah, no, so I agree with that. I think George Pickens is absolutely one of the top receivers in the league. I don't know if he's quite in that elite category, but he definitely can get there. But the reason I ask if he's going to ask for $42 million is because they're paying CeeDee Lamb $34 million a year right now. And George Pickens last year, to me, looked like he had the best year that he had in the NFL, at least from enjoying being in Dallas, having a partner like CeeDee Lamb, playing with Dak, the targets that he was getting. I wonder if he would be okay with getting a $34 to $35 million contract, maybe 35 to 40 to stay in Dallas, as opposed to going out there and demanding $42 million to go elsewhere.
Shit. Why would I stay in Dallas?
Arguably,
not to win.
outside of maybe Los Angeles,
but
the
we
Rams
didn't make
got
the
the number
playoffs.
1 offense.
But I'm not taking no pay cut. You think Puka?
It's not, but I wouldn't say that as I don't think it's a pay cut in my opinion. I don't think that he's in that category to ask for JSN or Puka Nacua money. I think he's close to it. I think he's in the top 4 to 5 category, absolutely. But you got to remember, Dallas is paying Dak $60 a year. They're paying CeeDee Lamb $34 a year.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to keep that trio together, I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas was more comfortable around that 35 to 40 range, or, you know, George Pickens was okay with being in that range just to stay in Dallas. But at the end of the day, none of this really matters right now because the Cowboys are in control. They placed the franchise tag on George Pickens. They have full control over the situation. If a team comes in and offers him a new contract, Dallas has first option to either match that contract, or if they let him walk, then they get 2 first-round picks in return. So they're in full control right now. And again, I like George Pickens. I think he brought an extra element to that offense. As a quarterback, I am a huge fan of having a 1A and a 1B. It makes your life so much easier, and then being able to hand it off to Javonte Williams in the backfield as well. So if I'm Dak, I'm saying do everything you can to keep Pickens in Dallas, but I think he would be okay being around CeeDee Lamb type of money to be able to stay in Dallas instead of going out there and getting $42 million elsewhere, if he even could.
I don't know if he'd.
CeeDee got paid 2 years ago, man. We got families to feed.
I get it, but CeeDee Lamb is still 4th highest paid receiver in the NFL.
So you tell me you put George Pickens with the
Rams.
Rams, you put him with Seattle, he don't have the exact same numbers as Puka or JSN? Or better?
Those are what ifs. I mean, he has the skill set too. Absolutely has the skill set.
Okay,
no
so
doubt.
give me my skill set money.
I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let Skip go. You said 1A, 1B?
Yeah.
Okay. Name the 1A, 1B teams. You got Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got A.J.
You got
Brown,
the
Devontae
Rams.
Smith.
A.J. Brown,
Eagles.
Devontae.
Maybe the
Eagles.
Vikings with Addison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only one of those teams won a Super Bowl, and they won it on the back of a running back and a dominant defense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you got to look at that too.
Yeah.
We pay George Pickens. Yeah, this is great. Our offense is wonderful. That side of the ball is the problem.
We got to pay them too.
That side of the ball is the problem. So do you want to invest all of this money into him and still leave that side struggling? Because if we look at the Rams offensively, I would say that we agree they had the 2 best. They had this one guy on Seattle, but they had a tandem.
Yeah.
Seattle won the Super Bowl.
Well, I guess it all depends on how they draft.
Neiman
If
Marcus
Dallas
your
drafts
offense
well,
and group
That's
on
what
your
I'm saying.
to play with
defense.
it
Right.
because
Seattle
they got
had-
good defenders.
Seattle had JSN, but then they had that group on the other side of the ball.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's
You need one good receiver and a defense.
I'm just
And
saying.
my whole point is with CeeDee Lamb getting 34 a year, even though I know it was a couple years ago, how do you think he's going to feel seeing them pay George Pickens $8 million more per year to come in and arguably put up the same type of production that he's having?
Sure.
I feel like the Cowboys giving him that type of money would not be setting them up or putting them in a great position with what they need to do as a team. But the other issue is the longer you wait, say he does play on the franchise tag, he balls out this year, that market price is going to
if
be
he play on the franchise
up.
tag this year and ball out, he won't be in Dallas.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
No, hell no.
Heck no.
And if I was Dallas, I'd ride with my guy CD.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, to your point about what if George Pickens had been a Seahawk this past season, what would have happened in place of JSN? There's no way he puts up JSN numbers. I just don't think he's as mentally tough as JSN, taking double after double after double. Think of the single coverage that George Pickens got this year and down this past year.
That's a good point.
Okay, where it would just wear on him because he is shown to have lower football character. Even this year, again, there was a reason that Mike Tomlin, the great Mike Tomlin, said no to George Pickens, said he'll never grow up more trouble than worth. I give him away. I'll give him to you, Dallas, to get him out of our hair in Pittsburgh. I'll give him to you for a 3rd-round pick. Okay, so now I look at George Pickens looking at JSN, and JSN for a George Pickens, I'm going to put myself in his shoes for a second. I don't think that George Pickens' eye test would pass JSN. Like JSN is hard. If you just watch him on TV, there's no wow factor to it. It's just catch after catch, and you're like, how did he keep getting open? You don't see spectacular, you don't see circus catches, you don't see downfield jump ball catches. That's the way George Pickens operates. He's going to lead the league in spectacular downfield jump ball catches. He did this past year.
Yeah.
And Jerry Jones, trust me, loves that because Jerry Jones wants box office. He values box office, to me, more than he does winning football games. So Jerry Jones is going to be more likely and prone to pay George Pickens for box office, to keep him in Dallas with CD, keep them both as happy as you can keep them, because that sells tickets. But more important, it brings eyeballs to TV sets on Thanksgiving Day or whatever big Monday, Sunday night game that they play in.
But don't forget, Jerry wants to win. Well, how many?
Okay,
four more
that's,
Super Bowls.
That's baloney. That's in the end, he wants to sell more than he wants to win.
Let me tell you what he meant.
And to your point, I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
finish. I sat in that team meeting in 2020. This is COVID year. First thing Jerry said to us is, "I know we the show. I know how to keep us the show. There's a reason that we are who we are.
The show.
I know
They
how
are
to
the
be
show.
the show."
Hey,
And that's
Wait,
what Jerry
describe it.
wants
The
us
show.
to be the show.
Every year, the top 5 games rated will be Dallas Cowboy games,
Yeah,
and they were last year. They just are every year, just top 5 because of Monday nights, because of Thanksgiving, because of all the big stage games, opening night at Thursday night at Philadelphia last year, big, big, big. So my point is that George Pickens is going to look at JSN and say, come on, man, I'm better than he is. I test better. And he's going to start making waves under a tag. So he's making 27 to JSN's 42 million, 27 to 42. That's where it sits right now. And it's still open for negotiation. It's not that case is closed. Once you get tagged, that just extends your negotiating period through, into camp and toward the start of the year.
Yeah.
So they're going to go to the table and they're going to say, come on, give us 43, give us 44. And Jerry is going to be prone to cave in and give him that.
You think he's going to have a deal by this year?
I do think that he will extend him because Jerry loved the box office, the wow factor that George Pickens brought. And the idea that I've got the most dynamic duo at receiver is all Jerry really cares about. And who's the highest paid quarterback in football as we speak?
Dak
Dak
Prescott.
By
Prescott.
far. He makes $60 million. He's number 1 in the league, okay? So Jerry's that's like a point of pride. I pay my guys the most money. And they were 7-9-1 last year. Way to go! Congratulations.
Jerry's also a stickler for actually his guys.
His guys.
He didn't draft.
Okay,
George
that's a great
Pickens,
point
and
because he stole George Pickens for a 3rd-round pick. Jerry's saying, "Look at me, man. I know football, right?
Right.
Look what I pulled off. Look who I got."
Jerry likes to pay his guys, guys he drafted. He'll pay though. That's why the whole Micah thing was such a big deal. Because it's like, usually with my guys I draft, we usually get it done. We figure it out, whatever. So, we'll see. It just all depends. If I'm Pickens, what's the tag? 27?
27.3.
Okay, so I'm looking at the landscape and I'm saying,
Which he's obviously more than 27.
yeah, I'm
More
saying,
than
but
that.
exactly. But now I'm looking at the landscape. So all of us athletes that play at the highest level, we're the ultimate competitors. And they're all, whether it shows or not, there's a sense of arrogance internally that we have to have in order to step on the field confidently. You have to believe you're the guy or one of the guys. So if I'm looking at George Pickens, if I'm Pickens, if I don't truly want to be in Dallas, if I'm here and it went well, whatever, you can play this year, stack you 27, and then I'm looking at the landscape. I'm saying, okay, who needs a guy next year?
Yeah.
So now I just got me an extra 27. Now I'm about to go really get this money in free agency next year. You know what I'm saying?
And you gotta ball out this
Yeah,
year.
and because he gonna believe, he believes he is who he is. So he's saying, shoot, I can do it again. All I have to have, he don't. And what I'm saying
And
is,
he's getting single coverage.
he was second team All Pro. Okay, let's say he's not. It's very difficult. It's the best of the best. It's very difficult to be All Pro. Okay, or even Pro Bowl, whatever. But All Pro for sure, because it's a limited number of spaces. So even if he's not an All Pro this season, but he has close to that production, he just showed I can do this 2 times. I showed you that I can be this guy, and I'm still sharing the ball with him.
Okay.
So imagine what happens if I can go somewhere and I'm getting the ball the entire time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just all about how Pickens look at it. Do I want to be here where it's like, who's one, or do I want to go where they drawing it up for me and I can stack 27?
Watching last year, though, I thought he liked that. It looked like him and they're even hanging out this offseason, CD and Pickens. I really think if they stuck together, if Dallas could find a way, obviously they have to work with the salary cap. Now, the cap increasing each year will help him if he's back at the table next year, but I think it would be beneficial for them to find a way to try to keep him happy, but also keep him in Dallas. And I'm not opposed to think that Pickens would be okay with maybe not being the number 1 highest paid guy, but still being top 3 or 4 in that range to stay in Dallas and still have the production that he had on offense.
I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about the guy. Just being the
He wants to be the
I don't
guy?
care what you talking about. They drawing it
Still
up for
going to be the
CD
guy in
first.
Dallas because you're not.
Man, I don't know. Like last year, I know
Man,
Steve.
they
I know.
Do that.
Man, I'm telling you,
If we were winning championships, that's what you do that for. But it's been proven that when you do that, look at Cincinnati, paying 2 receivers and your quarterback. You're not going to win no championships like that. You can't. So Skip is right. If they want to just be the show and do that, then you
That's
pay
what I'm saying.
Pickens and him and pay Dak.
You can pay him.
And you look cute and you don't give no money to your defense and it looks good, but you lose by 1 score and you be 7-9-1 year in, year out. But if you want to win a championship, you got to let one of them receivers go. And Pickens is going to get paid. I mean, he gets 1,000 yards in his sleep in Pittsburgh with an inconsistent to no quarterback, 1,000 yards, 900 yards in 14 games. Then he comes in and have 1 year of a consistent quarterback, goes 1,400 yards. 9 touchdowns. So you give him in another system with any team with a consistent quarterback, he's going to put up 14 to 16, 1,700 yards in today's day and age of these offenses and these receivers.
Because they going to go
Cody over
score.
here with the
They
stats.
Cowboys.
I know stat. I like
I'm trying to learn
that.
from Cody
Hey.
a little bit. I'm trying to
Hey,
come off
Cowboys.
from this, too.
See, I say,
I
You know what's gonna
that
happen?
was nice.
You know what's going to happen? Cowboys go score, and then the other team get the ball. And then what happens?
Ping pong,
Man, what again? Man,
Ping pong. Get
Hey, but you
That's-
know what?
Hey.
Hey,
That's
guess
the
what?
show.
Now we're in shootouts, and I'm getting 12 targets a game because we got to keep up with the other team.
Maybe.
Timeout. One last point that nobody's made. I'm going to say it again. He got shipped out of Pittsburgh because he was never going to grow up, according to Mike Tomlin. And he comes to Dallas and immediately starts missing meetings and being late to meetings and misses the team bus on Monday night in Las Vegas to the football game. Misses the team bus completely. And on Thursday night at Detroit, in what was the turning point game of the year for me, after we'd just beaten back-to-back the 2 Super Bowl teams from a year ago. We'd beaten Philadelphia and we'd beaten Kansas City on Thursday. So a week later on Thursday, we go to Detroit, and I think even you agreed. I know Akib defended him, but I just thought he didn't show up for whatever reason, and my friend Richard Sherman just blasted the hell out of him on Amazon Prime after the game, saying that he looked uninterested in the game. Okay, that's who we're talking about here, right? Okay,
You're still convinced.
You're talking about the go ball that was inside. That,
Yeah. Well, even
and then the one was kind of a dead play where it was the pick, but he looked like he gave up. But he
Cody
wasn't
gave
even
up,
the
and then
progression.
Stop talking from
you
a
said-
selfish
wait.
quarterback mindset, man.
No,
Be
I'm defending
That's
Pickens.
like-
wait.
I'm defending
Leave is he's like,
Pickens.
man,
What was the first throw of the second half? Still a
can't get
close
to that
game.
rock.
And it's right here. Man, on the slant, he hits him right here.
Yeah, he
and
did.
He
He
just
dra-
pops it up in the air. I think it was Anzalone. He just took it and went with it, right? Okay, great. Way to go.
But I could sit here, though, to
But
that
you
point,
think Gary's
Skip.
gonna find him,
But
though.
to that point, I could sit here and put a highlight tape of all his bad plays and make an argument for, well, maybe he's not worth the money. But then I could turn around and put a highlight with even more positive plays and say, this is why he is worth the
Oh,
money.
I understand. There are a
all
bunch
these
of those.
receivers
Yeah.
have drops. I mean, CeeDee Lamb has struggled with drops. Jamar Chase has had some drops throughout his career. Like, these guys are going to have bad plays, but it's the upside and the potential. Do the positives outweigh the negatives? And for George Pickens, I think it absolutely does. Again, I just don't know if it's at $43 million or $44
Individually,
million.
because all money ain't good money. Individually, we talking about team here.
Okay, so
if
wait
they
a second.
pay, yeah.
You got a Super Bowl ring. Are you okay with him being late to meetings consistently? Does that bother you at all as a team leader?
What's consistently, Skip?
I was reading every other
Couple
week.
times?
No, this was in
And
Dallas.
he was a brand new
But
to
you
the
know
team.
what?
Now
In
he's
the
not brand new. It's just
championship
going to
in the
get worse.
championship team, you got players to check that, right? But talent-wise, I want him on my team. Hell yeah. Let's
True.
have a talk.
Agreed.
Pickens. Hey, bro, you can't be late. We do shit different.
You know what?
around here.
You can't be late. You know it.
But who's the leader? Who's the leader in Dallas right now? that would
That's
have
the
that
problem.
conversation?
There's not one.
'Cause I don't
If you wanna know the
see. I don't
truth.
see Dak being
I
like,
don't see
Pickens,
Dak
sit
doing that.
down.
Dak's not that guy. He's not that
All right,
way.
guys, let's move on. Enough about the wide receivers. Let's move on to a star rookie running back that.